Hey guys, it's a Photo Fiend here. We're going to make a quick ring light tutorial video for you. I'm going to show you guys how I build the light that I use for my studio portraits. So let's get right to it. The list of things you're going to need. You're going to need your LED strip. You're going to need a way to power your LED strip. So you're going to have to pick up a power supply. It's got to match the voltage of your LED strip. We're using 12 volts here. You're going to need something to stick your LED strip to. I'm using 1-inch plastic. You're going to need connectors to connect to your LED strip and then onto your power supply, or to a dimmer switch if you want to use a dimmer switch. I'm not going to use a dimmer switch because I rarely bother with a dimmer switch, so we're just going to hardwire directly into the power supply. You're also going to need a way to mount the whole rig onto a light stand. So I'm using these little light stand mounts. I've got a couple different ones here. We're going to use this one here. The light stand mount goes on an L bracket, and then you're going to need the hardware to mount that. And last but not least, you need something to make your ring out of. We're using plywood, 3/8 plywood. It's cut in a 2-foot by 2-foot square, so we're going to cut a circle out of that. So let's get to this build. Okay, so now you've got your parts. You're going to need tools to put everything together. The tools that I'm going to be using: you're going to need a drill to drill holes. You're going to need a saw to cut the wood, either a jigsaw, or you can get fancy like me, and I'm actually using a circle jig router. And then I'm going to use a stapler to tack my strapping on, and then wire strippers, cutters, a knife maybe, and drill bits. I got some scissors, a pencil. Whatever you need to put your ring together, you're going to have to go get for tools. So let's start building. Okay, so the first thing we're going to need to do is cut this wood. This wood is 2 foot by 2 foot, and no matter how you're going to cut it, you're going to want to find your center mark, which is simply by measuring 1 foot by 1 foot. And where they crisscross is your center mark. Now I like to right away drill this down so that it's stable on here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just cut it. But now most of you aren't going to have a nice circle jig router, so you're going to have to mark your center and then draw your circle. And there's a easy way to do it with a rope and a pencil. You can simply just throw a pencil through your rope, put that on your center mark, and draw your circle this way. You're going to have to draw 2 circles, your inner and your outside diameter. But because I'm lazy and I don't want to do that, we're going to use a circle jig and a router. Now let me show you how fun that is. Okay, so for those of you who have your circle drawn out, you're going to use your jigsaw and just cut out. And for those of you who have a router, you're just going to do it this way. So there's our outside diameter, a perfect circle. Now we got to do our inside diameter, so you're going to have to decide how thick you want your ring to be. And I don't really have I just guesstimate around 3 inches. Some people want them more narrow. I found the best is around 3 inches thick. As long as it's going to fit your bracket nicely. So we're just going to do that really quick here. So there you have it, your ring for your ring light. One other tool I forgot to mention, since you're working with wood, is you're going to want to sand your rough edges down after you cut it. So get some sandpaper and do that. And then also, I like to put 2 little notches in the wood, a place for my wires to run, so that the strapping doesn't bulge out a little bit. So let's get to building. Okay, so we've got our ring sanded down, we've got it cut, we've got it notched for the wires. Now it's time to put some strapping on it. The way I do the strapping is really quick and really easy with a staple gun. In the past I've used screws and pre-drilled it and all, you know, to stop the strapping from splitting. It was a pain in the ass. This is much easier and this strapping is much better. So we just line it up and start tacking it on with a staple gun. Don't put a staple in your hand. Okay, so don't forget you have your inside to strap and your outside diameter to strap so that you can have a dual strip ring light. So now I've got a lip here that I can stick the LED strips to, and it's just got a 3M sticky back and it just sticks right on. So now we're going to do just that, stick it to our ring light. Okay, so you're ready to stick on your LED strips. They're pretty simple, pretty straightforward. You have 2 wires on these LED strips. One's your positive, black being your negative, red being your positive. And there's a lot of different ways you can connect it. So these bare wires are coming straight off the strip. So I changed my mind. I am going to use a dimmer switch just to show you how it works and how it comes together. Normally I would just stick plug-in connectors right onto it with a Y connector for the 2 strips and then plug directly into the power supply. But we have a dimmer switch, so we might as well use it. So first things first is we just start sticking the LED strip onto your plastic strapping. So get those both stuck on and we'll go from there. Okay, so these LED light strips have cut marks every 2 inches or so. You can see they're clearly marked, so it's just as simple as taking your scissors and cutting them. And that is how you complete a strip. So I'll get finished here sticking this other side, and then I'll show you how I connect it. Okay, so we're going to use a clip-on connector for the other end that we cut on this LED light strip, and you really just match red to positive and black to negative, but the idiots who sold me these reversed the wires on this connection, so I'm just going to have to keep that in mind when I connect to the dimmer switch. But they really just slide in and clip on, and that's how easy it is. You don't have to solder anything, and you don't have to mess around with bare wires. Okay, so if you've done everything correctly, you've got your 2 strips coming through the other side. You can see where I notched it with my router, and that's why I notched it, so that the wires come through a little bit cleaner. Now we connect everything to the dimmer switch, and it's really straightforward. You've got your in and your out. So obviously the in is where your power supply is going to connect to, and the out is to your LED light strips. You've got positive, negative, black to negative, red to positive. So these little connectors just screw in and clamp down, and we'll get that done. Okay, so this is it all wired up. You've got your power supply dongle thing here, which you're gonna have to track down. I'll put a link to all the parts that I'm using in the description of the video, but if everything's done correctly here now, I should be able to plug this in and fire up the lights. But first, we're gonna throw a light stand mount on it and get it so that it'll mount to a light stand. So let's show you how we do that. Okay, so for the light stand mount, we're just using our 5/8 spigot, which is a standard light stand mount with a thumb screw here, and it's got a 1/4 20 thread with a nut, and that's going to go directly to our L bracket, just like that. And we're going to screw that on, and then what we need to do is throw this L bracket onto our ring light. And I really just eyeball it. You could probably measure things if you want to get it centered properly, but I eyeball it and I mark it with a pencil where I need to drill my 2 screw holes. Looks good enough for me. There's my 2 screw holes, and then we go and we drill those out. And so you've got your hardware that you've purchased to mount to your L bracket, and so you just stick that on. I'm using 1/4-20 bolts and nuts with some washers, and that's going to tighten that all down. Okay, so we've got our light stand mounted, and since we opted for a dimmer switch, you might as well go ahead and source some wood screws for that and throw it on the back here so it's all nice and clean and mounted. I'm just going to throw a couple screws in because it's really just a light plastic dimmer switch. It doesn't need a lot holding it down. And then if everything was put together properly, we can now jump down into the studio and test it out. Okay, so this is everything mounted and hooked up to power. And this is the moment of truth. Let's see if it works. Whoa. Okay. Yep. We built a ring light. Okay, so we did it. We built an LED ring light. Now, you can go ahead and start creating. A couple things I'm going to talk about really quick before we quit this video is about the quality of LED lights you source. You want to go with higher quality stuff. You want to go with a higher color rating index. That's the CRI rating for it. That's going to give you much better colors, especially when you're doing portraits and you want to capture the skin tones and stuff like that. This stuff is cheap stuff I got off eBay. I just wanted to see how it works. It's not too bad. I noticed there's 3 LED element things that are already burnt out, and it doesn't stick very well compared to the high CRI, high quality stuff. But I'll put a link to both of these, this cheap stuff and the good stuff, so that you guys can buy whatever you want. But that's it. We made a ring light. So now just get creative, make some portraits. See you guys. You gotta tell me when you hit record. Hey guys, it's a Photo Fiend here. We're gonna make a quick ring light tutorial video for you. So, what do you need for your ring light? We're gonna go over some parts real quick here. You need power tools and a jigsaw maybe, or in this case, my router. you fucking suck. What you need are some parts to get your ring light build going. Let's go over those parts real quick. Make your list, guys. Here's what you need. You need a power supply to power your LED lights. You need LED lights to light your light. You need this thing. So fucking buy it.
Hey.
You can cut that fucker off.
Go.
Hey guys, it's a Photo Fiend here. We're gonna make a quick ring light tutorial video for you, and that's pretty much where I turn retarded. I'm gonna give you a list of parts you need to pick up to make this fucking video come together. Fucking ring light. That's this is RGB to light up different colors, and this is fucking stupid.